Hey guys, what is happening? As I film this, it is currently Tuesday, May 29th, 11:30. I just got back from going out for the FC Cincinnati to Major League Soccer party at Fountain Square. It has been a crazy fun day, especially for Cincinnati sports fans. For the first time since 1972, we have three professional Major League sports teams in Cincinnati. We got the Reds for Major League Baseball, the Bengals for the National Football League, and FC Cincinnati officially today confirmed to be a part of Major League Soccer for the 2019 season. And I am beyond stoked. This has been a year and a half long process of following their MLS bid, and really this whole thing started back when the team started in 2015. I think it was August 12th, 2015. I'll never forget it. I was in Hilton Head on a family vacation when I saw news on Twitter of a USL, United Soccer League, soccer team starting in Cincinnati, and I was all in for that. Turns out USL back then was Division III for US Soccer, and FC Cincinnati was the new team on the block, playing their games at Nippert. Blue and orange were the colors, and they were in the process of getting their roster together and everything set up for the 2016 season to be played at Nippert Stadium, which is the University of Cincinnati football stadium. And yeah, I was immediately excited, and then I could not wait to check them out once the season started. And then I saw in an interview, I think it was Birding or Linder, Jeff Birding's the GM, and Carl Linder's the owner. One of them was saying that their goal was to get to Major League Soccer in 3 years, and I was even more excited for that. It's like, heck yeah, get some more Major League sports in Cincinnati. So the season started in 2016. I remember watching their first game. The USL used to stream all their games on YouTube for free. So their first game, I want to say it was against Charleston Battery. They were at Charleston Battery, and they lost on a golden goal in the closing seconds of the match. But I remember thinking, like, wow, they're actually competing for this is their first ever team competing. They looked pretty good. And then a couple weeks later, went to their first ever home opener at Nippert Stadium. I got my girlfriend and I tickets. And back then, I say back then as if it was a long time ago, it was only 2016. This was before they exploded in popularity. This section called the Bailey, which has been sold out for the past 2 years now. Their opening season, you could get tickets for the Bailey, and it's where the diehard supporter groups and diehard fans sit. So we got tickets for that because they're only $10 a pop. It was general admission seating. This is the first game ever that they had at Nippert. Their first ever inaugural home opener, and it was crazy. They were hoping to get at least 10,000 people in there. They had over 14,000, and I believe they were playing Charlotte Independence, and it was freezing cold, but they still got over 14,000 people in there. I remember waiting in line for the merchandise stand. That's where I got this shirt, actually. The inaugural His Season History Starts Now t-shirt. I got that. My first ever piece of FC Cincinnati clothing I got at that inaugural home opening game against Charlotte Independence. And yeah, they ended up winning 2-1. Sean O'Coley had a goal that it was like a sideways scissor kick he scored on, and then I think Austin Berry scored the second goal. They ended up winning that game 2-1. Crazy night, one of the most fun sporting events I've ever been to in my life. And we kept coming back more and more, and then word of mouth spread. Like, everybody kept saying, hey, FC Cincinnati did this, FC Cincinnati did this, you gotta check them out. And it caught on like wildfire. And 14,000 for your first ever home game for a minor league USL Division III soccer team, that's a lot, and it wasn't a fluke. The numbers just kept going up and up and up, and we went to more games throughout that season. And it got the attention of Major League Soccer. They began to notice what was happening in the Queen City. So much so that a team that wasn't even on the MLS expansion radar in 2015, Don Garber, the MLS commissioner, actually visited Cincinnati in November of 2016, as this was like the first official pitch to Major League Soccer, saying, hey, what we have in Cincinnati is pretty cool, we might want to check it out. So Garber came in. I think Taylor Twellman emceed the event, and Garber seemed impressed. He said there was a lot of work to be done, and there wasn't a lot of time for that work to be done because the MLS expansion process was set. The pitches were supposed to be made by December 2017. So on sometime in January 2017, FCC officially submitted their pitch, or submitted their bid to be the next MLS expansion team, and we were off and running. And then so season 1 where we finished third in the USL, managed to host a playoff game where we lost again to Charleston Battery, I think, in the first round of the playoffs. That was at Nippert. That drew a record-setting crowd. They also hosted Crystal Palace. That drew over 35,000 people to Nippert Stadium to watch that game, and that was actually Crystal Palace had 3 friendly matches on that American tour. It was us and then 2 MLS teams. I think the match against us outdrew both MLS friendlies combined. And as I said, we were in the 3rd division at this time. The USL was still considered Division 3 for US soccer. So that was very impressive. And then we had John Harkes, former men's national team member, as our head coach. We had Sean O'Coley. He was the USL MVP that year. I think Mitch Hildebrandt, the goalie, was the USL goalie of the year. So they had a really good squad. Finished in 3rd, lost at home in the playoffs, but it set the bar pretty high for season 2 in 2017. And just as much momentum it seems like they had rolling in from 2016 and 2017, there was a big wrench thrown into the plans. John Harkes was fired the day before the first preseason game of the 2017 season. Alan Koch, who they brought over to be an assistant, was promoted to head coach, and he took over a team that was basically set up for Harkes' system, not his system. So they struggled in USL play. They finished in 6th, did qualify for the playoffs again, but they lost in the first round on the road. But the big story, this is what I think made Major League Soccer, like they were aware of what was happening in 2016, 2017, the US Open Cup run that FC Cincinnati had, that demanded MLS's attention in a great, great way. So if you don't know what the Open Cup is, it is this big soccer tournament in America where teams from all divisions compete. USL, MLS, NASL, NPSL, basically every division in American soccer can compete in this big tournament. And FC Cincinnati, USL actually got bumped up to Division 2 last season. So the whole league, I think they started play, I want to say it was a week later than they had the previous year, since they were now Division 2. And so I think we beat Louisville City, and the next round we were playing the Columbus Crew. And the Columbus Crew were one of MLS's founding teams back in '96, an in-state rival right up the highway, and it was called the first ever Ohio Derby. But because there's this big billboard sign in between Cincinnati and Columbus, it says "Hell is Real," and that became the name of the first ever rivalry game between FC Cincinnati and Columbus Crew. Hell is Real, and it fit the game perfectly. I was in attendance for that game. It was a ton of fun. It was easily one of the top 5 sporting events I'd ever been to in my life. And I was gone to the previous, I was at a lot of games the previous season. I was a couple games before the Crew game for the 2017 season. But the fact that the USL FC Cincinnati playing for the first time ever an MLS team, not only that, an in-state rival right up the road in the Columbus Crew, it was perfect. And it was another reason for MLS to pay attention to what was happening in Cincinnati. And the Crew, they came out firing. They were shooting seemingly every time they hit the ball, or they kicked the ball at the goal. It was either going wide or Hildebrandt was able to make a stop. And FC Cincinnati finally broke through when GB Fall was able to connect with the header to the back of the net to give us the 1-0 lead, and stayed like that for the rest of the match. We won 1-0, and it was ecstasy. I've never been part of an upset that big in person in my life for a sporting event. And the young USL team that made a bunch of noise, looks like the big boys from MLS tried to come down and shut us up, but we came out, punched them in the mouth, got the 1-0 lead, and moved on to the next round. And the Crew game, that was a ton of fun. The Chicago Fire match, that was a match for the ages. That was broadcast nationally on ESPN. And Chicago Fire at the time, they were like the hottest team in Major League Soccer. And FC Cincinnati, they were the Cinderella story, the US Open Cup, potential MLS expansion candidate. And they beat Chicago Fire. I think it was, I don't remember the final total. I think it was like 3-1 on PKs. It was crazy. It was 0-0 the entire game, 0-0 in extra time, so it came down to penalty kicks. And luckily Austin Berry, he won the toss for us. Austin Berry, Cincinnati's native son, who was playing for FC Cincinnati, he won the toss, so they had the penalty kicks right in front of the Bailey. And oh my God, that was intense. That was crazy. I remember I saw a picture of the Reds players. The Reds were playing that night too at Great American Ballpark. But this match, I think, it dwarfed that crowd. There was over 30,000 people in attendance for the crew match, over 30,000 again for the Chicago Fire match, and they had Reds players in the clubhouse for watching this match. It was crazy. FC Cincinnati won on penalty kicks, and it was pure ecstasy again. I was going nuts watching this game because it was so good to see FC Cincinnati beat the heavily favored Chicago Fire on penalty kicks. It was crazy. And that's when the MLS expansion talk really got louder, because we had beaten 2 MLS teams, packed house at Nippert Stadium, both over 30,000 people, and the momentum just kept going and going. The next Open Cup match was against Miami. They were another Division II team. We beat them 1-0, and then we got to host the New York Red Bulls, another MLS team. And oh my God, I was in Hilton Head for this match. So I was watching this on my laptop, and they were up 2-0 with 15 minutes left, and I'm thinking we're going to go to the Open Cup Finals. This was a semifinal match. We were 15 minutes away from going to the Open Cup Final, and unfortunately the Red Bulls came back, won 3-2 in extra time, stopped the Cinderella run of FC Cincinnati in the Final Four. But my God, that match, that atmosphere, there was over 30,000 people again. I believe the New York Red Bulls coach and the players for the Red Bulls were saying that Cincinnati would be a perfect expansion candidate, a perfect expansion team. I think the coach said it'd be a feather in the cap of MLS, if I'm not mistaken. And we were feeling good. We had become a national soccer darling because of this Open Cup run. People were saying we deserved to be an MLS expansion team, and the popularity of FC Cincinnati was reaching unprecedented heights. 2016, they went from nothing to here. 2017 took it off the charts, and then in December of 2017 they were named as one of 4 finalists to present a pitch to Major League Soccer to be the next MLS expansion city. It was FC Cincinnati, Nashville, Detroit, and Sacramento. Now Sacramento has long been favored to be an MLS expansion team. They were the original FC Cincinnati of the USL before FC Cincinnati came into the league. They were setting attendance records left and right, and FC Cincinnati comes in and breaks those attendance records and continues to break their own attendance records. And then Detroit, they got a big media market, powerful ownership group. Nashville seemingly came from out of nowhere. They got a stadium plan set, they had a rich owner, and so as a matter of fact, Nashville was awarded the very first MLS bid back in December, and then things got quiet. A lot of silence on the MLS expansion front. No one really knew what was going on at this point. I was checking Twitter and Reddit and the internet just to find out what was happening. I've been doing this since I would say probably since January when they first submitted their pitch to MLS, and then once December hit and after that bid went, after they made their pitch to be the next expansion team, I was checking it like crazy. And I did this every morning when I woke up before I went to work. Whether it be on the weekends, I was checking. First thing I did in the morning when I woke up, I was checking my free time at work, my lunch break, when I'm not doing anything at home, or when I was waiting for something to start like a Reds game. I was checking the internet just to see if there's any updates at all to this FC Cincinnati MLS expansion bid. And then nothing happened in January. I think February Miami was awarded an MLS expansion team, but that was expected. Beckham owns them, so that was a long time in the making. It had no bearings on FC Cincinnati, Detroit, or Sacramento. And then March rolls along, and I remember hearing on the radio every month, oh, this is going to be the week, or this is going to be the month, we're finally going to hear something. Nothing. The only thing we heard about in regard to the MLS expansion bid was that MLS did not like Detroit's use of Ford Field as their home field. Sacramento had investor problems, and FC Cincinnati had stadium site problems. We had originally submitted an Oakley site to be the potential field for the Major League Soccer specific stadium. Turns out MLS did not like that. Oakley was not considered urban enough. Newport was right across the river. That was my preferred site. It was right across from Great American Ballpark. I thought it would been perfect, but apparently the team and the Corporex, the owner of the Ovation site in Newport, could not come to a deal. And then the West End deal, where the stadium site is currently being built, supposed to be built now, that fell through. And then in April, we get this news. It was either April or March that FC Cincinnati has no stadium plan at all anymore. All 3 sites were dead. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, you are kidding me. I go from being like I could taste this MLS bid. Like, we were there, and then in one night it says all 3 sites are dead. We're going to reevaluate. I went from like on edge to furious. Like, what are you doing? How can you like lose all 3 stadium sites? And then the next day, seemingly out of nowhere, Cincinnati City Council comes up with this plan to get a deal done in the West End. They worked out a deal with Cincinnati Public Schools. They worked out a deal with the West End Community Council, and then City Council approved the infrastructure, and the ball got rolling again. The West Side Stadium site was apparently alive and well. It had a pulse. City Council approved a infrastructure deal dependent on a West End Community Benefits Agreement. Long story short, eventually everything got passed for the West End Stadium deal to go through, and it looked like we were back in the driver's seat of this MLS expansion process. And I go from like on edge to furious, back to joy and jubilation to on edge, checking. I'm still checking Twitter and Reddit and the internet every day, every morning when I wake up for some sort of update on FC Cincinnati's MLS bid. And then finally, last Thursday, I wake up, my alarm goes off at 6:45, I grab my phone, it's like 6:50, I'm scrolling through Twitter, I see a link that says MLS expansion bid in FC Cincinnati, it's imminent. And I thought it was just like another joke post or someone speculating. I open it up, it's Pat Brennan of the Cincinnati Enquirer. This guy knows everything there is to know about FC Cincinnati. He is like the top reporter. Him and Charlie Hash, they're like the top reporters when it comes to FC Cincinnati. And like my eyes popped wide open. I was like, okay, if it's Pat Brennan's reporting on this, it's gotta be legit. So I'm reading this article, and I'm like wide awake Thursday morning right before I'm going to work. And I listened to the radio on the way there. They're reporting similar stuff. And it starts getting traction. Sports Illustrated, every local TV station's reporting on it. ESPN reported on it. NBC Sports reported on it. So I'm thinking, oh my God, it's actually happening. We're going to get this bid. Tuesday was the announced day. The team and Major League Soccer both confirmed that a big-time announcement on the future of soccer in Cincinnati was going to happen on Tuesday, May 29th. And it happened. It was at the Rheingeist. It was at Rheingeist, which is a brewery/bar in the West End. And I've been there. It's like kind of close to where the stadium site's going to be. And that was closed to the public. You had to have like an invitation or be part of the media to get in there, or be Giovanni Bernard, the Bengals running back. He was there. That's where they had the official announcement, and then they had an MLS announcement party at Fountain Square. That's where I went, and yeah, it was crazy. FC Cincinnati is officially a Major League Soccer team. I am beyond happy. For the first time since 1972, Cincinnati has 3 sports teams. That was when the Cincinnati Royals of the NBA left town, leaving us with just the Reds and the Bengals. And FC Cincinnati, an unbelievable, seemingly overnight success story in American soccer, has reached the pinnacle of American soccer leagues. And it's crazy to me. This team did not exist 3 years ago. They said their goal was to get to MLS in 3 years. And in less than 3 years, they accomplished the feat. They are a Major League Soccer team, and I am beyond stoked. I've been with this team since day one. I've watched them grow, and I cannot believe it. I love it. I love the team, and I cannot wait to see what they do on the Major League Soccer level. And I've been to their games. I've been to those FC Cincinnati shows that they have, where they interview the coaches and the players and get autographs. I watch their games. I go to the games in person. I got a ton of FC Cincinnati merchandise. Like, I am all in. It's different. I mean, I'll always love the Reds. I'll always love the Bengals. But my love for those two teams had been passed down to me from my parents. This is different. This was a brand new team started in my lifetime, and hopefully I can pass it along to the next generation. And yeah, I can't believe it. I am super excited. Yeah, if you're ever in Cincinnati, go to an MLS or go to an FC Cincinnati match. You will not regret it. And it kept getting better and better. Last Thursday, actually, when the announcement was announced, it was also announced that we will be playing Minnesota United at Nippert. It was for the Open Cup match. We had beaten Pittsburgh the night before, and then we got drawn to go to Minnesota to play Minnesota United of MLS. Well, there was like a bit of a snafu. They had not applied to host that round, so the match actually got moved to Nippert. So I'm going to try and get tickets for that match on my lunch break tomorrow, and yeah, it's going to be fun. MLS has officially come to Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati is now a Major League Soccer franchise, and I could not be more excited. I don't know how I'm going to go to sleep tonight. It was a ton of fun just to watch the announcement, and then, Garber and Birding and Linder and Alan Koch, after the announcement at Ryan Geist, they all came to Fountain Square and gave a couple speeches. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, FC Cincinnati is officially a Major League Soccer franchise, and I cannot wait to see what they do when they take it to the next level. There's going to be some rebranding. I've heard they're going to keep the same colors of blue and orange, which is great because that's on every single piece of FC Cincinnati clothing that I have. And they're going to change the name from the Football Club Cincinnati to a Fußball Club Cincinnati. And the Fußball Club is a play on the German heritage in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got a ton of German heritage in it. So I guess to capitalize on that, they're changing it from Football Club to Fußball Club Cincinnati. But it's going to be the same colors. As of now, it's the same logo. And the jerseys and all the merchandise, they have a deal with Toyota on their jersey. That's going to switch over to Mercy Health now that they're Major League Soccer. And the jerseys and merchandise is going to go from Nike to Adidas. So you'll probably get some Nike FC Cincinnati stuff cheap in the next few days or next coming weeks. And they're actually going to begin play in 2019. Next season, they're going to be in Major League Soccer, which is unbelievable. They go from Division 3 in 2016, Division 2 in 2017 and 2018, and then next year they're Division 1 Major League Soccer. But for the current season, they're actually in second place right now, battling it out for that top spot in the USL East. So MLS, well, I'm super excited. I got focused on this season and the USL season that lies ahead for FC Cincinnati in the Open Cup. Hopefully they can beat Minnesota United FC and go on another incredible run and capture the heart of the nation again. And yeah, but what does that mean for this channel, for my website, for Cincy Fan Zone? What does having FC Cincinnati Major League Soccer mean? It means there's going to be some more FC Cincinnati coverage. Mainly, I've just been writing posts about them on my website. I mean, I've covered this MLS expansion thing a ton already, and now that they're finally MLS, we're going to get some FC Cincinnati videos. Hopefully, they're going to give out some bobbleheads, get some FC Cincinnati bobblehead unboxing videos. There's going to be season outlook videos, season recap videos, and just whatever I feel like posting videos or writing about for FC Cincinnati. I already got pictures of them from the matches and the shows on the photo page. I've mentioned them briefly in a couple videos. I got a ton of posts written about them if you want to check that out. It's all on my website, cincyfanzone.blogspot.com. And it also means I'm already live tweet during their matches like I do with the Reds and the Bengals. But because they're going to be in MLS, it's hard to live tweet from Nippert. There is no signal in Nippert at all. The first season they played wasn't that bad because they were averaging probably 15, 16, 17,000 a game. But it's since crossed over 20,000, and the place has no signal in there anymore. So I cannot live tweet when I'm watching at Nippert. So I think one of the MLS requirements for them to play at Nippert is they had to get Wi-Fi. And so hopefully when I go to their MLS matches next season, I'll be able to live tweet much like I do with the Reds and the Bengals in person. I still live tweet when they're on TV like I do with the Reds and Bengals, but being able to live tweet in person would be a lot more fun like I can do with the Reds and the Bengals. So Cincinnati, three-sport city. We got the Cincinnati Reds, Major League Baseball, Cincinnati Bengals, National Football League, FC Cincinnati, Major League Soccer. I am ecstatic. I cannot wait. And yeah, so that's all I got for you. Those are my thoughts on FC Cincinnati. A brief little history of FC Cincinnati, how they got from a Division III USL team to a Major League Soccer team in less than 3 years. It is crazy. It is unbelievable. Packed house at Ryan Geist. Over thousands and thousands of people at Fountain Square for this the MLS announcement party, and I'm super excited. I cannot wait to see what we can do at the Major League Soccer level. So go FC Cincinnati. And if you like this video, feel free to get a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out my website, cincyfanzone.blogspot.com, and follow me on Twitter at Cincy Fan Zone. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.